Dear student friends, this is Sham Sundar of Commerce Department of Andhra Loyola College. Today, we discuss on office automation tools. When I say office automation tools, it is all about Microsoft Office suite consisting of several applications popularly used in almost all offices of the organizations. When I say Office, MS Office, the word processor, the Excel spreadsheet and the PowerPoint presentation come to our mind. So, this video walks you through the MS Excel application for doing the accounting work, financial analysis, data analysis and the like. So, Excel is one important application of MS Office popularly used in almost all offices. For example, the organizations use Microsoft Excel for several purposes like collection and verification of business data, analysis of the business information, accounting, data entry, storage, performance reporting, strategic analysis, accounting and budgeting, project management and other office administrative works. But the entire story of Excel revolves around the formulas and functions, and these seem to be same. Almost all users find the formulas and functions to be one and the same, but there is a difference between the formulas used and the functions used in MS Excel. On the screen you can see formula is just equal to 4 plus 3, whereas a function is a predefined built-in function in Excel. And I would like to make a difference between these two in this video. First, the formula. On the worksheet, of course, the interface of the Excel, click the cell in which you want to enter the formula. All formulas start or begin with an equal sign followed by the constants and the operators and sometimes the text strings. Say in this example, some data is already there in the Excel sheet. C A1 100, A2 250, C 410 and E 700 and J 425, N 1025 and R 510. This is the data already filled in this worksheet. We call this as worksheet, and on the bottom you see the formulas used with an equal sign and A1 plus A2. Simply the A1 content and the A2 content are simply added because of the operator plus sign. So, this is simply adds cells A1 and A2 and gives the result as 350, that is 350, because 100 and 250 gives you the 350. This is formula, that is user defined formula. So, a user is supposed to type all the signs, equal sign, A1 plus and A2. Of course, A1 and A2 can be selected on the worksheet and Excel takes them from the clicks of the user. Second one is also a formula. This is equal to C4 minus 3. In this formula, you have equal sign, C4 the cell address, an operator arithmetic operator minus and the constant number 3. So, the result is simply 7 because of C4 is 10 and the constant is 3 and the result is 7. This is also a user defined formula. Similarly, the third one is E7 by J4. The content of E7 100 and J4 25, and this is the case of division and the result is 4. So, the division takes place and the result is 4. Then also another formula equal to N10, this time it is a multiplication with an asterisk mark and a constant like 1.05, and the multiplication takes place and the result will be 26.25. And the last formula is equal to R5, that is the content is 10 and the exponentiation symbol, and it is raised to the power of 2, squaring up the R5, that is 10, and the result is 100. All these are formulas entered by the user by his or her own hand, equal sign and all contents. Now, let us move on to the function. It is quite different from the formula. Of course, the result is the same, you get the same result, whereas this is a built-in formula already there in the Excel's programming. And for example, every function has some parts, and you can see on the screen equal sign is common for formula and function, whereas the next immediate one is function name. In this case, it is SUM sum. Sum is simply the total, and the most important part is the argument part. Argument part starts immediately after the sum function with a parenthesis, left bracket, and you see within the brackets A1 and a colon and A20. This means the sum of A1 to A20, all the contents from A1 to A20 are added up, summed up, and the result is shown in that selected cell. For example, let us take the same Excel sheet, already calculated formulas. This time on the right side you see the functions. The very first function is equal sign SUM A1 plus A2. A1 is 100, A2 is 250, again the result will be 350. In case of user defined formula, you type A1 plus A2, whereas in case of function you must use the SUM, a built-in and a reserved word and a parenthesis A1 plus A2. Similarly, we do not have any subtraction function in Excel. For that, I used a equal sign sum and C4 minus 3. So, the sum of C4 and 3 are taken and the result will be again 7, and again we do not have any division function. Hence, again I used E7 by J4. Again the same function of multiplication, we do not have any multiplication function, N10 asterisk and 1.05. And the last function is R5, the content of R5 is 10 and it is raised to the power of 2 and the result is 100. Somehow you understand the difference of using functions and formulas, but the result must be the same. Say working with arguments is important in Excel. In this example, you have B1 to B9 some numbers 5, 8, 9, 7, 5, 1, 3, 2, 7, and a function called average. Again equal sign and average and parenthesis B1 colon and B9. So, the Excel understands that user is trying to calculate the average of these 9 numbers starting from B1 to B9, and the total is taken and it is again divided by 9, and the result will be displayed in B10, that is 5.2222. You see, in B10 the function is used like is equal to average and B1 B9. This is function, not the formula used by the user. Similarly, sum of A1, A3, C1, C2, E1, but these are not in an order, but somehow they are spread across this sheet. A1, A2, A3 are somewhere and C1, C2 are somewhere and E1 is somewhere, but I want the total of these items spread across the sheet. So, formula is, you see in A5 equal sign SUM function name parenthesis begins left bracket A1 colon A3. This time it takes only A1, A2, A3 and you observe a comma. Comma is one important punctuation mark in English, and in Excel also it is considered as a syntax, the correct grammar of the function. If you miss this comma, the result will be something else. So, A1 colon A3 a comma and again C1 colon C2, this time C1 and C2 are also considered for summing up, and again comma, and this time E1 only one cell, and you must close the parenthesis, close the bracket. Hence, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items are simply added up and the result is displayed in A5 cell, that is 46. So, now a challenge for you, having watched this video, which of the following functions is using the correct syntax? For example, sum is equal to that parenthesis or equal to sum parenthesis and some argument within the brackets, sum parenthesis some argument in the brackets and equal sign, and equal to A2 is to A8, sum in brackets and E2 is to E8 or colon A8. So, obviously, the second option is the right syntax for the summing up of the values from A2 to A8 and E2 to E8. So, what I would like to emphasize is on using the correct syntax, correct characters, correct name of the function, parenthesis opening, parenthesis closing, commas, all are very important for doing the calculations in Excel. Of course, you can combine the functions and formulas. Formulas are user defined, functions are built in, but you can make a combination of these two. Sometimes you use your own formula and take the help of a function, so that you can get the result at the end with the combination of functions and formulas. And these are the very familiar functions what users use often in office, in arithmetic operations, in accounting, in financial analysis and all that. These are summing up, sum is simply for totaling, average is for finding the average, counting, count function is for counting the number of items. How many items are there in the Excel sheet? For example, 9 items, 9 appears when you use the count function, and the max is for maximum. In a range of cells, when you use this function, the Excel calculates the highest value or the largest value and displays it in the cell you use this maximum function. Obviously, the minimum function, the least of the 10 or 50 or 100 numbers is taken and the same is displayed. And this is a big exercise. Say for example, this is a food supply inventory orders, a restaurant application, non-perishable items, and on the left side you see several items, tomatoes, black beans, all purpose, and all several items are there. And on the right side of that column you have quantity column, that is expressed in kilograms or some other quantity, and the next column is for price per unit, and the total cost is the multiplication of quantity and the price, and you get 52.32 as the total cost. And all of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items, quantities, prices, and the total costs are displayed in the worksheet. What I would like to do here is the calculation of the average price per unit. So, already there highlighted with a blue color, average price per unit, and I use the formula of average and use a parenthesis C3 colon and C10, because the data starts with the C3 and ends with C10. So, I open the bracket and close the bracket and use the word average. So, what happens? Simply all items are added up and are averaged, and the average value is shown in that cell. Maybe it is 15.93 of these values, the average is simply 15.93. And another example, it is with the maximum of B3 and D7. This is for your understanding and a homework like exercise. Again Excel sheet is given, and this time the function maximum of B3 and D7, starting from B3 cell and ending with D7 cell, you are asked to calculate the maximum number. Can you find from January, February, March data of some items ordered per month, and the Excel calculates the maximum value. Searching for the maximum value from B3 to D7, the total number of items ordered or sold between January and March. Of course, the smallest amount of an item ordered in March, average number of cakes sold in March, the largest amount of an item ordered between January and March. All these details, queries, questions can easily be answered using several functions and formulas of MS Excel, and you can try this as exercise. To conclude, Excel has several hundreds of functions built in, and the commerce students have some specialized functions exclusively for accounting and financial management. Of these, the PMT function, for example, you see on the screen the syntax PMT parenthesis rate, NPER, PV, FV, type, these are all arguments required for Excel from the user. User simply enters the data one after the other, like rate of interest, NPER, that is total number of payments, and the PV, present value, FV, that is future value, and the type properly separated by commas and closing the parenthesis. So, the work is made simple and you simply put in the data and get the result instantly. Hence, this video is all about for Excel formulas and functions, and thank you for watching this video.